So, John, you're back.
I am back.
I hope George O'Connor didn't leave a mess in your chair.
Well, I have a bone to pick. I have a bone to pick with New York Times bestselling author and friend of the show, George O'Connor. Olive oil everywhere. Olive oil in the bed sheets. I don't want to know.
No.
My toilet paper rolls just like have absorbed olive oil. Again, I don't want to know. There's just olive oil all over the place. I can't even hold on to like a utensil. All my silverware, olive oil all over the place.
He's into that Turkish wrestling.
He is. Well, you know what?
That's a real thing. I'm not making that up.
Half of my Little Pony collection is missing. Now, New York Times bestselling author and friend of the show, George O'Connor, if I was staying in your apartment, I would not touch your He-Man collection. So do not touch my Little Pony collection.
He's picked up a new habit.
I guess so.
I forget what that's called. Oh, bronies. John, do you know that's called a brony?
Is that oh, wow. Is this another Brooklyn word I'm going to have to learn?
Brony.
I have no clue.
You didn't know what furries were, and I sent you that story. But anyway.
Well, I did. I knew what furries were, but I didn't know like that was what they were called. I had seen furries all around me. I just never knew.
Let's get to the theme song before we have to talk about furries more.
I know. Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
It's the Seti Bimco Show with your hosts, Tim and John. They show up every week so you don't have to.
I'm not counting episodes anymore, so this is a new episode. This is a new episode. We're somewhere between 25 and 30. We missed our anniversary. I think Hillary was not 25.
Hillary was 25. May Day at 45. May Day. Well, don't worry about it. Hey, don't worry about it. Maybe we'll do the 50th.
We should have her back on because your neighbor murdered someone.
Yes.
Anyway, no. The mystery's solved.
We hope. Anyway. We hope.
So let's go. What? Do you want to say something?
Well, there is something. No, go ahead. Because I got to look for something in the paper.
You're shuffling a paper. Okay.
I'm looking for something. There's something I wanted to tell you.
Are you going to read Marmaduke? John, what happened in Marmaduke today?
Let me see here.
Tell me what happened to Marmaduke.
Let me see here. We don't have Marmaduke.
What do you got?
We do not have Marmaduke in our paper. Let's see. Would you like to hear the Born Loser? Beetle Bailey?
Yes.
Beetle Bailey.
Okay. What's happening in Beetle Bailey?
Miss Bleeps. I think she was the one with the... I think she was the older secretary in General Half-Track's office. The one with the real little breast. I think those were the Bleeps. Yes. I don't think they call her Miss Bleeps anymore.
No.
And she says to Miss Buxley, the hot little secretary, General Half-Track is really losing it. And then Miss Buxley says, why do you say that? And then you cut to General Half-Track, and there are Z's over his head. He's out cold in his desk chair.
Okay.
And Miss Bleep says he used to close his door before an afternoon nap.
Ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bumch.
All right. It's the Seti Bimco Show. Yes. It is the Seti Bimco Show, the show where we talk with people about their teenage humor, tragedies, and look at movies that are also about, movies about the same theme. Often, or movies we just saw as we were going through that angst, that tragedy, that whatever we were going through at the time. Gene called it the Seti Bimco Groovy Hangout Hour. And wonder if I should change the name to that. Season 2, it would be the Seti Bimco
Maybe
Groovy
Season 2. Maybe we'll have to. Maybe we'll get the ratings up. But I did have something I wanted to share in the newspaper with you, Tim.
I can hear it.
Let's see here. Butter sculpture unveiled for 2022 State Fair. The 2022 Butter sculpture at the New York State Fair celebrates the 50th anniversary of the landmark Title IX law and connects it to dairy. No, that's not what I wanted to. Oh, here we go. No. Here we go right here. Front page of the Auburn Citizen. I never get the Citizen, but I saw this.
You saw that you're in there.
I saw that.
Oh, dear. Your neighbor's in there.
In an orange jumpsuit, handcuffed. Can you describe it to the listeners?
Sure. He's in an orange jumpsuit. He's got the handcuffs that connect his hands to his waist or chest.
I believe to his waist.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is to his chest because Two
police officers. Is that your apartment out behind them?
No. This is outside this is outside the county courthouse. No, I am not there.
Yes, I
this
see.
Apparently happened yesterday. And let's see here. An Auburn man charged with murder earlier this month will receive a psychological evaluation after his preliminary court hearing was adjourned Tuesday. And his name was in front of Auburn City Court Judge Kristen Garland, facing one count of second-degree murder. We're not going to say the name, age 58.
Well, his name is Daniel. It's people know.
Of course, they give, again, the whole address with the building number and the apartment number, which is only one number up from my apartment, was charged August 17th after allegedly stabbing city resident Michael Dennison to death 10 days earlier.
It doesn't say neighbor of famous podcaster John
It
Kelly.
does not say neighbor of famous. Well, but as soon as the media gets a hold of that, look out. And when they find out your phone is probably going to be ringing off the hook. Three officers walked closely next to the name as he entered the courtroom Tuesday. His attorney, Rome Canzano, asked that the suspect's preliminary hearing be adjourned. Canzano also requested a psychological evaluation for the suspect to determine if he understands the proceedings based on Canzano's interaction with his client earlier that day, the nature of the case, and other information involved in the case.
Are you afraid to say his name like Satan? You don't want him to reappear next door?
I don't. It's like Candyman. No, I don't want to. So that's her. And then so I go through there, and then it says, please see murder, page A5. And then, of course, I go to read the rest of it on page A5, but I get to page A3, and it's like, butter sculpture unveiled for 2022 State Fair. And I'm like, ooh, butter sculpture. Because today was the first day of the Great New York State Fair in Syracuse. And they always keep
to it.
Have you been to it? I was going to ask if you've ever been to it.
I think I was there when Tom Petty was playing.
Oh, I saw the Righteous Brothers there. I saw Ray Charles was an awesome show.
Oh,
I saw that around 1989, 90. It was in, now they call it.
That was the year after.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the year after Night Ranger played. I remember you went.
I missed Night Ranger. I was despondent over that I just hugged my Night Ranger water bottle to my chest. I was fetal on the kitchen table. I had to go under psychiatric evaluation for a few days. I just couldn't get there. Anyway.
Well, still.
That's the latest. Stay tuned, listeners.
A sad event, but yeah.
But hey, as long as I can use it for the podcast, I don't care.
You heard it here. John has no soul.
I have no soul.
So,
how did your week go?
That was your week. Mm-hmm. Let's see. My week. We've had Theo Peck on, and
yes,
I think I told you then that I will go to his backyard area to sometimes draw cartoons, and we live a few blocks from Steiner Studios. Mm-hmm. So sometimes there's people in there I know they're talking about HBO shows. But there was a woman who comes often now. This was one of her first times. She sits down, turns her phone on, and talks loudly. Loudly about her business. But I'm okay with cartoons because, I love it because I'm trying to get information about stuff. But this woman, I thought she was faking it, but Theo told me, no, she's a producer of things. So I don't want to, let's call her Jan. I don't know her name, or I forget her name. But she was producing, this is what she was working on. She's producing a segment for the Pornhub Awards. Ooh. She was in touch with Eric Andre's agent, wanted him to host it. I don't know if you know Eric Andre, the comedian.
I do know who he is. Okay, yes.
But what she had in mind sounded funny. She said she had comedians write comedy sketches for the porn actors. I thought,
why not? It could work.
Creative.
It could work.
But
we'll let them branch out. Do they get to keep their clothes on?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, let's find that out first before we start giving this an endorsement.
That's what I'm getting to. She talked loudly about this, and she's like, I heard Pornhub's in trouble for some underage people, but I like Pornhub. Come on. And she's like trying to talk the producer down from
the agent.
Getting involved with this project. I don't know what she's talking about. She was trying to convince this person that Pornhub is great, but I don't care if she looks at porn. I mean,
Pornhub is going to advance the comedian's Eric Andre's career. That would be kind of a tough sell.
But I've been looking online to see if there is a Pornhub award, and I even typed in Eric Andre and Pornhub award, and I don't want to know what you got.
Yes,
I got nothing to do with Eric or Andre. There's some categories out there I didn't know existed, but I cannot find any Pornhub awards that have ever happened. So I don't know if this
maybe
is
it's
real.
Maybe it's a new thing.
But she is always on her phone talking loudly to agents about putting things together,
making the deal.
She's gotten in fights with some people, I've been told, about being loud. Mm-hmm. Because she's asked me if she's being loud. I'm like, well, I don't mind. And then she turns it up a few more notches, and other people complain. So that's all.
That's all.
That is all. You want to?
Wow. I'm just trying. No, now you got me. Now you just got me thinking. Like, will they have clothes on?
Want me to take a picture of this person?
Will they have?
Yeah, I would actually. You're wondering what kind of comedy sketches?
What kind of comedy? Will they be clothed? Will they not be clothed? I mean, this is a lot.
Well, it's Pornhub, so I assume some clothes got to fall off eventually.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a total 180 what they normally do, and they'll just get to keep their clothes on.
They put more clothes on them. That's the joke.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. That's it. And they keep putting them on. They keep putting on more layers as the bit goes on.
Somebody out there's got a fetish for that.
Because I'm sorry, Vivian Vance just wearing an apron. I just
no.
That would be. Although when she used to get coked up, Vivian Vance would just show up to Desilu Studios in just an apron and nothing else. When she was I think
she was very professional, John.
Oh, you think? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She didn't realize. Because is it cold in here? I feel a draft. It's like, Viv, have you been doing coke again? You're just wearing your apron. Can see the rest of you.
That was the episode. Lucy took most of her clothes to make a costume for a big idea she had to get on the show, Ricky's show. Mm-hmm. And she kept ruining them, so she had to go steal more of Vivian's clothes. You don't remember that episode? Vivian was walking around naked like, Lucy.
No, I must have missed that.
Where's my clothes?
They didn't show that on Channel 5 in 1974.
Wow. We just go right for the naked jokes because they're easy, John. We got to try harder.
They are easy.
I blame myself.
I blame you too, Tim. We can talk about this show. Let's do it.
Because, as I told you before, there's a movie called The Class of 74. There's a TV show called The Class of 74. The movie is another soft porn that I almost has watched, but
which I didn't even bother looking up. I was just like, as soon as he says that, I was like, one summer camp a season is enough for me. Yes. I just couldn't take anymore.
Well, this is back to school month.
This is back to school, yes.
But the film quality on the other film was obvious. It was an old soft porn. It looked like Larry Hagman had urinated on it. So.
Urinated on it, I hear you.
Which reminds me, in college, I saw a very interesting... We had someone who did a very good job curating films, and she curated a show that was found film. So people found film in the garbage when it used to be on rolls, not digital.
Right.
And it would be... They would play it, and it would look like a Jackson Pollock painting. All the decay. It decayed so much, and sometimes you see people, and they would put new music to it. And I enjoyed it more than I thought, because I thought, oh, this is going to be a bunch of BS. But one of the films they found and re-edited with sound, with the film decaying, was gay porn, man-on-man porn, and I was in there with people who were new to college, and as soon as that started, like 5 of them stood up, just walked out, all men, and I wondered whether they were
went back
offended, uncomfortable.
No. They all went back to their rooms and had gay sex. It turned them on. They weren't offended. It just turned them on. They went back to have an orgy in somebody's room.
Well, that's what I think too.
That's exactly
very interesting.
What happened. That's exactly. How far in did they get into the movie? Like 10, 15 minutes? Yeah,
well, these
about
are
10,
short
15
films.
minutes. That's
Since it
about right.
started.
That's about right when from my experience, that's about all it takes to put you in the mood, and
Right.
then you go off and you have an orgy in someone's dorm room. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I saw Crying Game in the theater, and also when the mystery is revealed, the twist.
The mystery.
One guy up front, like got up, walked out. I was like, really? Well, anyway.
But by that point, like by the time, okay, I don't like he was shocked, because by the time I got around to seeing the movie, and I saw the movie like the second or third week it was out, everybody knew the ending. Everybody knew. Oh, you didn't.
Who are you hanging out with that ruins movies for you? That 1 week?
No,
2
it
weeks?
was in. I read it somewhere. I don't know.
Oh,
this was actually.
You were reading it on Twitter, John. You got.
This is pre-internet.
Before you see me.
Maybe it was in the little weekly underground paper. I can't remember.
I know.
I can't remember now.
It's supposed to go along with my Twitter joke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was on Twitter.
In 1990.
In 1992.
I forget when that came out. 2.
Was it 2 or 3? I think it was 1992, yeah. I think it was the first year I lived in Raleigh, actually.
Wow, and they let it show there.
They let it show in Raleigh. I don't know about, like, Jesse Helms' hometown, or wherever the hell.
Because you remember in Ithaca, they showed Last Temptation, and the guy drove his bus into the theater.
I do vaguely remember that. And then I finally, went to see it, and it really wasn't all that.
No.
I mean, it wasn't that, I was like, you made a big deal about that. And by the way, when the Vatican says don't see the movie or don't read the book, the Vatican has not seen the movie, nor have they read the book. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
They send a nun out. No, John, they send a sacrificial nun. She goes to see the movie.
She puts on a trench coat, dark glasses. She puts on a trench coat, dark glasses, and a fedora. And she goes in.
Yes. No, but she's not welcome back.
She has to call them from a payphone.
Send in your review.
It was wonderful knowing you.
Yeah. I don't know. They put her into compost and grow some more nuns.
Yeah. There you go.
There's where my comedy's going.
But
nowhere. So I picked another back to school type of movie, which is not a movie. This was a TV soap opera with teachers and supposed teenagers that look like they're as old as teachers in some cases.
Some cases.
And I guess this was made in Australia. I read a little bit about it.
It was in Australia. It was a daily soap opera.
It's called The Class of 74.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought we were watching the premiere episode, but it was episode 4.
Okay, that was going to be my question, because I was like, I wasn't getting any of it. I realized, not that I wasn't getting any of it, but I was like, something must have happened before.
Yes, I thought I was waiting to see a mystery too, but.
So I was just like, it was fine. I don't think I probably would have been that much more impressed with the premiere.
No, John, give me a demerit. I should have known. I should have found the first episode.
It was okay. It was fine. It was, yes. Well, you give the little, you want to give the synopsis, Tim, or how are we going to approach this?
The synopsis? Yes. The synopsis? I'll give a synopsis.
Synopsis.
That's how it's said, John. That's how
they say it in Australia.
In Brooklyn, in Australia. Yes, this is an Australian school. Mm-hmm. Seems to be a Catholic school because there's a priest as a teacher, but they don't have any nuns. I'm not sure about all that.
I was wondering if it was maybe an Anglican priest. I don't know.
Yes. But the basic synopsis is they're going to have a debate on censorship, and this seems very controversial because one of the students had a girly magazine. So he's like, hey, no censorship. Want my girly magazines. That's pretty much the plot.
That's pretty much the plot right there. Yeah, basically.
And right off the bat, there's a janitor, Mr. Hubbard.
Who's
and I have to wonder, did Matt Groening see this show? He's the janitor from The Simpsons.
Yes, it was a groundskeeper Willy.
He was. That's what it was.
No, it was exactly.
He looked like him.
That's what I thought. It was exactly groundskeeper Willy. And it was in black and white. First of all, let's
Really?
It wasn't black and white.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny because we didn't own a color television. That was probably probably
19. What year was this?
74.
Oh, that's right.
The class
in
of
Australia.
The class of 74 was Was in 1974.
I thought it took place in 1965. I thought it was like
but
a
they called it the
futuristic
class
show.
of 74.
Because that one student was a robot, and I'm like, oh, I get it. It's in the future.
It's in the future. The future 8 years, 9 years later. But like we didn't have a color TV till I had to have been about 9 or 10. So in 1974, I did not. So to me, it didn't matter if the show wasn't color or black and white. It was all in black and white to me. We would go over. Now I'd go over to friends' houses and they would have color TVs. But do you remember this about color TV, Tim?
I remember everything about color TV.
You couldn't watch the color TV with the lights off because the radiation would get to you easier. Do you ever remember hearing that?
No.
That was something they told me.
I was told not to lick the screen. The radiation would get to my tongue.
Oh, was that what you were licking the screen? Okay. That does not shock me, Tim.
Parents are always telling me, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I can see it better.
Mom, Timmy's licking the screen again. Oh, Timmy, I told you, you'll get radiation poisoning. You'll lose your tongue.
Why can't you behave like John Kelly?
John Kelly doesn't lick the screen, and he knows not to keep the light turned off because radiation is coming out of that color television tube.
John Kelly has a black and white TV.
So, of course,
he can lick it all he wants.
Like nowadays, like I carry a cell phone with me. Now I don't care. Like I carry a cell phone with me. Who knows what's giving off what? I put it in a pocket next to my balls. I don't care. I don't care anymore. But back then, I always remember flipping out like, oh, we can't turn out the lights with the color TV. We'll get radiation. That's what I was told. If anybody listening does remember being told not to watch color TV in the early 70s with the lights out.
Write in and tell us your story.
Write in and please tell us your story. You can be on the show. Yes, please do.
But we have listeners in Australia, so if they want to write in and say why they had black and white TV in 74, I don't want to make fun of them. I don't want to make jokes.
No, because as I said, I only had black and white TV in 1974.
It could have been in color, and this is all that was saved. I don't know.
No, I was looking at the production notes, and that first season was done in black and white.
Okay.
Then it became the class of 75.
We'll get to that.
Okay, but that was in color.
That's in the future, John. That's when there's 2 robot students. It's like in the future.
A year later. The robot finds true love, finally.
They built another robot.
And then they didn't have any more ideas, and there was no class of 76.
So there's going to be a debate. This one kid, Johnny, he seemed to have been in a fight that he lost, and the priest is like, the peaceful priest is like, you could have beat the shit out of him. What's going on with you? What's going on at home? Although,
when he first talks to Johnny, he's like, when's your free period? He's like, it's at the end of the day. He's like, come meet me. And I was like, Johnny, watch out.
That's too easy, John.
Get on your bicycle. He's not Dutch. He won't be able to catch up with you. I was like, uh-oh.
They were in cars, I think.
Well, one was driving a motor scooter.
That's right.
The one with the beard. That beard looked awful. The kid with the beard. What was his name? What was his name? Greg. He looked very 1990s, actually.
You think so?
I thought so.
Because of the hacky sack ball he had?
Because of the hacky sack, the Vespa, and the beard. Yeah.
And the fish T-shirt. Because this takes place in the future, John.
It does take place in the future, even though it's made in 1974. Exactly.
This was a different fish in 1974. It was spelled F-I-S-H.
You're right. And chips.
Kind of like there was 2 Fleetwood Macs. There was another fish. Yeah, and chips.
Fish and chips was the
They
name
dropped
of that.
chips.
Then they dropped the chips, and they said, let's do a PH. And they're like, nah, let that other band use that. They'll never get anywhere with it.
So Greg, not Greg. Does Greg visit the woman in the hospital?
Yes.
There seems to have been a car crash.
There must have been, I guess somebody's got a broken leg. Did somebody die? See, we're on episode 4. We have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
We have no clue.
He brings her 2 books, Teach Yourself Brain Surgery and 900 a Day in the Hospital. And I immediately went to Google. Australia's like Britain, right? Socialized healthcare. Why are they like, oh my God, $900 a day in the hospital? Do you understand that? It's socialized medicine there.
Maybe it was an American book. Maybe they didn't have NHS down there in 1974.
Any what?
Or maybe it was set in the future with robots and socialized medicine.
When
there's a warning to Australians.
Done away with that.
If you do not keep voting Labour in, you will have a future with no NHS,
and robots.
Learning
and
how to
do the
perform brain
surgery.
surgery. Yeah. Yep.
They'll do it wrong and charge you $900 a day.
$900 a day.
Even though robots have no use for money, they just charge you it to just be assholes.
Exactly.
They take the money and they burn it up with their laser beam eyes right in front of you.
Right in front of your face. Mm-hmm. And laugh. Robotically.
The laughter that they have recorded from Charles
I
Manson.
Love Lucy laugh track.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be the laugh. It'd be like some sitcom laugh track from the... Actually, that's not a bad idea. So, like, their laugh is like a laugh track from like a 50s sitcom. Yeah.
That would be funny.
That would be hilarious.
We just wrote a sketch.
I think so.
We'll have to get some actors in here. So then the janitor's like...
Can we just keep calling him Groundskeeper Willy? I know his name's not Groundskeeper Willy. Can I keep calling him Groundskeeper Willy?
Yes, you can call him.
Mr. Yes, Hubbard.
He's like,
not even Mr. He's just Hubbard. He doesn't even have a first name. And he keeps talking like this. And he doesn't want to talk about... He's very, very upset that the priest is going to be like in the debate.
Yeah, what is he upset about? It's a debate about censorship. And he's like, you're bringing Satan right to our door, Father?
Yeah, well, the priest is going to be the anti-censor. He's going to actually give the argument again, and the priest the janitor thought that he was going to be doing the pro-censorship because he's a priest, and he's just very... Yes. There must have been something big that happened in one of those first 3 episodes that we're missing out on, Tim. I don't know.
And shout out to Jim Connick from Scotland who listens. So I'm not going to try to... I'm doing my best Scottish accent. Don't be offended. I'm too nervous to do it. He's listening.
You're too nervous to do the Scottish accent.
You've got to do it.
Timmy, if Jimmy Doohan could do it, you can do it, laddie.
I can only do Minnesota.
That's the best I can do off the top of my head.
But yes. Then we have the principal, Donald Blair, and his wife who comes by, make all sorts of jokes about her being a drunk. Mm-hmm. Insults. So that was the most soap opera-ish thing in this episode. And Nora wants Greg to take her to the drive-in, but he's too busy. Too busy getting ready to debate censorship. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's when I was confused because I thought drive-in in England is too foggy, and I realized, this takes place in Australia.
Australia, exactly.
Yes. That and the boomerang that came through the window. I was like, it's Australia.
That was a dead giveaway right there.
Yes.
That was. Unless they mean like a drive-in restaurant, like in Crybaby Killer.
Right.
That could be what they mean by drive-in, like a car hop type thing. I can see them doing that in Australia.
They could do that. Mm-hmm. Wonder if they have logs in their playground there, too.
Just the one log, and maybe they brought it from the mother country.
So, how about that bearded teacher? He was in like one scene.
Was that a real American accent?
The wooden acting, was that what was going on?
A very wooden accent. I don't think he was American. He tried. I'll be like General Custer. She's like, well, didn't he lose?
She's like, he lost. I'm the history teacher.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that was true. I don't think they flew an actor from LA just for those 3 lines. I think it's just some Australian actor trying to.
So they spend a lot of time worried the kids are going to bring up sex during this debate. That's their only worry. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I hope they don't talk about sex. I guess that's why Groundskeeper Willy. Okay. But Nora goes to the movies with someone else. And you want to know what the top movies were in 1974 that they were probably going to see, John? Do you want to know this?
Sure, go ahead. Psychomania.
You want No. The Towering Inferno, Earthquake,
I saw
and
that.
Airport 75. They were all playing.
They played Airport 75 in 1974. Okay. Is that like when they released the...
That's what it says. I Wikipedia'd this.
Maybe that,
Airport 75 took place in the future, and there was robot pilots. That's why they crashed.
I don't remember that plot, man. I did see Earthquake, and I did see the Towering Inferno. But, it's like when they release the model cars, like they'll release the 2023s in, like, October of this year.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's something like that.
That's what happened.
Get yourself all set for 1975 and air travel.
I think it was the future in 1975, John, because the pilots, the robot pilots came out. They asked the passengers, give us your money for your tickets. And they're like, well, we already paid. And they're like, no, give us the rest of your money.
Give us $900 more. And then
they burned it with their laser eyes.
They burned the money. And then the 50s sitcom laugh track started playing.
And then they walked back to the cockpit and drove that plane right in the ground. Mm-hmm. That was Airport 75.
Mm-hmm. Great movie.
You want to know the worst movies that we're playing?
Psychomania.
Too. That was a good movie.
The reissue of Trog.
No, Loving Molly. Have you ever heard of this?
Which I assume has a different meaning then than it does
back
now.
then.
Yeah,
I didn't look up what it was about. I just looked. Bat People was a movie.
People.
Check out Bat People.
Bat People. That sounds like something Hammersmith would have put out. Anyway, okay.
Shanks. Do you know of this movie Shanks?
I don't know the movie Shanks either.
Let me read to you what this movie Shanks is about.
Oh, Jesus.
A mute puppeteer uses a deceased scientist's invention to control dead bodies like puppets, starring Marcel Marceau, the famous mime.
I know the famous mime, who had the only spoken word in Mel Brooks' silent movie.
Yes.
Remember that? That was the joke in that movie.
This was the last movie directed by William Castle.
Ooh.
So I'm going to find this so we can watch it. It's nowhere free. It may cost $2. It may cost $2 on YouTube if you want to watch Shanks.
Somebody like Steve Bannon copyrighted it, probably. It's probably the same reason why we couldn't. What was the movie we couldn't see for free?
The ABBA.
But somehow I found that. And I didn't get a virus on my computer, but no, there's another one I wanted. There's another one, and I can't think of it right now. But it was early on in the SETI BIMCO oeuvre, and there was a movie I really, really wanted to see, but they wanted. Oh, I remember what it was. Satan's School for Girls. They did the remake, except this time instead of Kate Jackson being the student, she played the Jo Van Fleet part. This was the 2000 remake, and Shannon Doherty played the main character. And the only thing I could find it on was DVD, and it was $12.99. I was like, no. First of all, I don't know where my DVD player is, and secondly, I am not paying.
Did you loan it? Did you loan it to your neighbor, John?
It's probably in an evidence box down at APD. Yeah, it's probably in an evidence box somewhere. It's like, and whose DVD player is this? If we can find who owns this DVD player, we will find the mastermind to this crime. I got very nervous today. I had to return. I realized I had to return my library books. My library books were a week overdue. So I got down to the library and I returned because the next thing I know, for the overdue library books, they're taking me in. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting in a cell next to my neighbor.
Jeez, come on.
So what are you in for? Well, I kept The Catcher in the Rye out a week late.
They're strict up there in Auburn.
They're very, very strict. We take our literacy very seriously up here in central New York.
Okay. Well, this episode, they have the debate.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty dry debate.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the debate, one of the students says, should you even censor pictures like this? And she shows the class the picture and everybody gasps. And then they show it to the teachers and the priest looks at it and he's like, where'd you get this?
Where did you get this?
And that's where it cliffhangers the next episode.
That's the cliffhanger. So my question to you, Tim, is what do you think the picture was of?
Well, okay. Back up. When they were having the debate, there was a young lady in the gym going, I don't like debates. And groundskeeper Willy comes in. He's like, oh, I do not like I can't.
No, just
I don't like these debates either.
You can do it in a Minnesota
don't like
accent.
these debates.
You can do it in a Minnesota accent. Oh, yeah, sure, you betcha, yeah.
It's bringing Satan right to our door. I think the picture was groundskeeper Willy, because he protests too much. I think it's a picture of groundskeeper Mr. Hubbard, pleasuring himself to some pictures. Maybe he should.
I also thought it was Mr. Hubbard, but I thought he was wearing a kilt, and under the kilt, he had lifted up the kilt, and under the kilt were some real lacy, frilly women's underwear he was wearing.
That works too. We're on the same track here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, I tried to keep it. You did the pleasuring himself. I tried to keep in mind this was a mid-afternoon teen soap in 1974 Australia, Tim. So I just went with the underwear, not the self-pleasuring.
Yeah, I went to something too easy. I'll say maybe it's a picture of him murdering the robot students, and it's against the law in 1975. That could be. That's 1975.
Well, now I feel like I've got to either see like the first 3 episodes or continue on with.
Well,
like what happened?
I'm going to admit to you, I found an episode of the Class of 75 in color, and I watched it.
You sent that to me. I didn't get a chance to watch it because I didn't want to have all the fun in one day.
The show. Wow, I don't know what happened. There was a spy at the school dressed in the mustache with the glasses, Groucho, in the bushes. A new headmistress showed up, and she's like, "You're in my chair," to Mr. Blair. And he's like, "What? A woman, the headmistress?" And as soon as she goes to her room, she takes off her wig, and she's not brunette, she's blonde. She's like, just as I planned. There's like all this stuff going on. The students, it's not really about the students.
And that was the second and final season of that show.
Was it?
And
okay?
That may be why.
And it started with a priest and a girl in an airplane crashing in the ocean. I'm like, what is going on? It got much better. I really enjoyed that episode. Much better.
Well, I'm like going to have to. We might just have to sit and watch. I don't know. Of it. I guess now my curiosity is piqued because I was under the impression like it was the same faculty in Class of 75, just different students.
Oh, Mr. Hubbard was still there in 75.
Mr. Hubbard was still there. I don't even want to know what he was doing.
He saved his job despite whatever that picture was of him doing.
Despite that picture.
Oh, and also a rich girl showed up at school, and she's like, "Where do I put my pony?" They're like, "Pony? I don't know. Where do you put your pony?"
Where do you put your pony?
My father would have sent me to a school without storage for my pony. And they're like, "What is up with you, girl?"
I don't know. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I didn't last after the second season.
No, that was a much better episode.
Well, it's like they went from one extreme to the other because let's face it, this episode we watched was just, to be kind,
boring.
Very, very dry. I was going to say dry.
Yep.
Very dialogue driven, not a lot of action. And then it looks like they did a complete 180 for the Class of 75 and just went horribly wrong the other way.
Okay, John, it's your favorite part of the show.
I'll call it
the BIMCO
SETI Q&A.
Brain twist.
Answering quizzes.
Theme song. Do you like quizzes, John?
I do love quizzes.
Brainstorm.
I'll call it SETI Q&A.
Brain twist. The BIMCO. I love quizzes. The BIMCO.
I'll call it theme song.
No. You want to stop this? You want to make it end?
Please end this. Please make it stop now, Tim. Please, Tim, make it stop.
It's only been 40 minutes, John.
That's fine.
All right. So our quick game. Who would fart in an elevator purposely crowded with people from this show that we saw? There's Mr. Hubbard. There's Greg. There's the principal, Mr. Blair. There's a female teacher. I don't know what she did. And there's Father Kennedy.
It's got to be a toss-up between...
Father Kennedy.
It's got to be a toss-up between Hubbard and Greg. I'm going to use Hubbard for something else. I'll say Greg.
Okay. Is there a reason why you think Greg? He seemed like an okay guy, except he was mean to Nora.
He looked like, he seemed kind of like an asshole to me. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe he was the most sympathetic character. Maybe I just saw the wrong episode. Something about his eyes. He looked devious. He looked like he was up to something.
All right. Maybe he was a robot? I don't know.
Maybe he was a robot. Then he wouldn't fart in an elevator, though, would he? So that would destroy that theory. Who do you think would fart in an elevator, Tim?
Mr. Hubbard. He hates the very idea of debating censorship. So he's got a pile of smutty girl magazines at home under his smelly mattress. And
that he farts on all the time.
Loves to fart in elevators, especially if Father Kennedy's in there. He's very passive-aggressive about that.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to go with Hubbard. Okay, you're probably right on that.
Who would have a podcast? I got a big story for this.
Okay. The girl in the hospital bed wondering how she's going to come up with $900 a day.
Yeah. You mean she would travel to the future and write about...
Try to figure out... No, she wouldn't know. Like, what is she going to have to do to get this $900? The things she had to do to raise the $900 a day.
Oh, okay. She's just in the hospital. She can't escape the hospital.
Performing favors for orderlies. She's just recounting the whole harrowing experience of trying to raise $900 a day in the hospital.
She would steal babies for...
She would steal babies for cash, yeah.
Cash.
Yeah, and then she, saw the error of her ways or got put in prison for like 10 years. And then when she got released, then she was on the straight and narrow. She found Jesus, and she did this podcast to redeem herself, to talk about how she got $900 a day.
All right. Well, my podcast idea is the way this show is going, and the way this guy was obsessed with girly magazines. I think he'd end up getting one of the teachers pregnant, and this child would have to be sent to New Zealand to live where he or she would grow up and witness the making of the Lord of the Rings, because they made those in New Zealand.
Yes.
We'll call him or her Terry. I don't know.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Terry, just to be unisex. And
Terry snuck into Hobbit Town often after the show was made, just the sleep in Hobbit homes they built for their tours. But Terry's day job was mining rare metals to make jewelry for the Pope. Thus, her podcast was called Rings of the Lord.
Rings of the Lord. That's wonderful. Oh, Tim, that's very clever.
See, was that a long walk to a stupid show?
That was a long walk, but it was worth the walk. No, sometimes you have to take that long, and that's why sometimes you can't interrupt. Like, that's what, so I just sort of step back and I'm like, he's going somewhere with this. He's going somewhere with this.
Step back.
I'm not interrupting him. No, it was actually very good. Rings of the Lord. I like it. It was very good, Tim.
Well, on her podcast, she talked about digging metal mines and didn't talk too much about sneaking around Hobbit Town because she didn't want to get caught.
Right.
Now, she had eaten there and slept there and spilled some porridge on the floors once and stained it. And when she came back to go on the tours later, she saw that the tour guide was telling people the stain was there where Ian McKellen had vomited one day when he blew his lines.
And then she blew her cover and went, liar! You are a liar. That is not an Ian McKellen vomit stain. That is a stain from my spilled porridge.
Yes.
And then the jig was up, and they knew she'd been staying there, and she had to be escorted out of the...
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Lost her job making rings for the Lord.
And
she lost her podcast talking about Lord of the Rings. It was sad.
Tragic. Did she ever go back to Australia to be reunited with her birth parents? No.
She could have. I don't know. So which characters have a spin-off?
Well, geez, that sounded like
show.
A spin-off TV show there, Tim. How do I top that? I can't top it. The Rings of the Lord, there's your spin-off show right there. I can't top that.
Well...
But you're going to, aren't you?
They had a spin-off class, the class of 75. I think Mr. Hubbard, the janitor, he should get his own show after he loses his job at the school for wearing the frilly stuff under his kilt, like you said.
Mm-hmm. And not pleasuring himself. He did not pleasure himself. It was a mid-afternoon Australian teen soap opera from 1974.
So this is what he does outside of school. A lot of it involved model trains. Just to avoid his wife, he'd go down to the basement, play with his model trains.
Because we all know model trains is code for porn. We established that.
And he would listen to right-wing radio at night because he was very much for censorship. Mm-hmm. And he had a stash of girly mags under the model train table. But he had special tastes. These magazines were all about cake farts.
Oh, my God.
Is this something else I have to explain to you?
I'm having a little trouble following you tonight, I will admit.
You didn't understand that story? There were no robots. No robots to throw you.
Oh, okay.
No, but that's all he does. That's the janitor's life.
That's the
Model
janitor's
trains,
life.
avoiding his wife, looking at cake fart magazines.
Cake fart. Oh, cake fart. Oh, okay, cake farts.
What
Yes,
did you
I do
think
know
I
what
said?
cake farts are because you were talking about them with we
Friend of the
talking
show,
with
New York Times bestseller George O'Connor.
No, we weren't talking about. Were we talking about cake farts with George O'Connor? Maybe that was who it was. Okay.
When I went on his show, that's what you're thinking.
Oh,
I
you went
talked
on
about
his
it.
show. Yes. Okay, that's where I heard it. That's right. Okay. On the Hypothetical Island
Go seek it
podcast.
out. That's all
Which
we
I
talk.
hear-
That's
which
the
I
Hypothetical podcast is all about cake farts. That's all they talk about. So I had to bring my game, my A game.
Yeah. Well, they're running out of ideas over on Hypothetical Island. I hear their days are numbered, but So
We got to talk about something besides cake farts. Anyway. Oh, his show would be called No Class because he didn't work at the school anymore. Steal that joke from Fat Albert.
Well, you
And who can
prepared
defeat-
that much better than I did, Tim.
Hey, no, there's no scorekeeping here.
Yes, there is. Oh, I know there is. I know you have a little scratch pad right there, and you're like, I got 17 laughs tonight, and John only got 11.
Well, I don't know who's laughing out there in podcast land.
Hopefully, somebody is at something. Probably the things we're serious. Probably the things we don't mean to get a laugh with.
Probably. I know. All right. Oh, nobody can defeat Maud. We need a new question there.
We need a new.
You
question.
should create a new question.
Yes.
You're like, no, I don't want Tim to have another
I'll have to
excuse
think
to
of
write on
something. But it still has to sort of be Maud related.
I guess I have to differentiate podcast and spin-off TV show better. Who would have a movie, maybe? Maybe I'll change that to who would have a feature film.
No, but I think people grasp the difference between a podcast and a spin-off TV show. I just thought your spin-off TV show should have been the podcast, and I thought your podcast should have been the TV show. That's all I'm saying.
Mr. Hubbard, he would have a podcast, and he would be very right-wing.
Right.
And he'd talk about his model trains.
And then the spin-off show would be Rings of the Lord.
Yes. Rings of the Lord.
Rings of the Lord.
Okay. Well, I guess we're
right
done.
after the 700 Club on TBN.
So we're done this week? Do you have anything else to say?
No, I don't really have anything else to say. There's nothing left to say except I'm trying to. You know what they do with the butter sculpture at the end of the state fair? Everybody comes over with like toasted bagels and toasted bread, and you get to dive into the butter sculpture. And since 9/11, they have to be plastic knives, but you go in and just you dive in and
check you.
You just butter your bagels. It's a tradition every closing day of the.
Now, do they have bagels at the state fair in Syracuse? I'm skeptical.
Know. I don't know. I'm making it up. I'm trying to remember. What? Somebody did tell me what they. There is something that they do with the butter, and I can't think of what it is.
Yeah. I hope they use it.
They recycle it somehow. Yeah. They recycle
I don't want
it.
I really don't want to eat that butter.
But no, actually, that would probably be the cleanest butter you would have because the entire state fair, it's in this enclosed glass case. It's refrigerated.
I don't care. Who knows what's happened to that?
Oh well, you don't know what's Tim. I work in a grocery store. Trust me, you don't know what's happening in that little cooler they're keeping the sticks of butter stored in.
Nothing bad happens in there.
If you don't want to know anything,
nothing bad happens in there.
That's right.
I told you where I eat, that restaurant we love. There's rats in the rafters. I saw a cockroach on the bar. And I'm like, I'm going there again.
There's the name for your restaurant bar when you open it, Rats in the Rafters.
No, I'm doing charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
You know what it's going to be called? Did I tell you this?
No. Something hoof.
It's going to be called Tomfoolery Charcuterie.
Tomfoolery Charcuterie.
Gene hates that joke.
I thought you were going to call it like hoof and mouth or something. The hoof and the mouth. I don't know.
You email us. People, you need to email us at SETIBIMCO with an E at Gmail. And we are SETI _ or _BIMCO on Instagram.
Depending on which side
And
of the
SETI BIM on
Atlantic you're
Twitter.
on. There you go.
SETI BIM on Twitter. You can like us and give us some, give us stars. I don't even ask. Everybody asks for that. I don't think of that. Give us stars. Give us 5 stars.
Send us money.
On Yelp, go to Yelp and give us 5 stars. Hey, you can send money. I don't care.
Give us 10.
So, John, that was fun. Class of 74 and then the class of 75 where things got really wacky. Next week, we're going to start 3 weeks of Halloween goodness, terror vision. I don't know. What do you want to call it? But next week, we have an amazing guest, Will Dodson. He's author of American Twilight, The Cinema of Tobe Hooper.
Yes.
I'm going to ask him all about Tobe Hooper. I could talk
can't wait.
a lot about it. Yes. I wish we watched good movies like Tobe Hooper made, but we're not going to do it. I'll get all serious.
I know.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go. Goodbye.
Let's go. Bye, Tim.
SETI BIMCO is a podcast by Tim Hamilton and John Kelly. Produced by Miss Lee. Music by Tim Hamilton. This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
Send us money.
On Yelp, go to Yelp and give us 5 stars. Hey, you can send money. I don't care.
Give us 10.
But
Tim did it. Tim did it with the guy who came and got the couch.
yes,
He got 10 stars.
I give him 10 every week until my guilt will go away.
Till my white privilege guilt will subside.